How's it going, Sneak Peekers? I'm Ryan Schwen.
And I'm Tori McClung.
We have an amazingly spooky episode for y'all tonight, including a review of the long-awaited Disney sequel Hocus Pocus 2, and a panel celebrating the anniversary of one of the most masterfully written franchises of all time, Twilight.
We're also going to be taking a dive into one of the creepiest pieces of content made for our generation, the one and only Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, as well as take a look at what's to come for this Halloween streaming season.
Stay tuned. So I know last week our amazing hosts Nick and Andrew talked about being disappointed about Donald Glover not returning for the Community movie. But lucky for us, showrunner Dan Harmon just announced that he thinks Glover will in fact be a part of the film.
Thank God for that. I really can't imagine the film without Donald Glover in it. However, with it serving such a niche audience, I really don't know how well it'll perform.
It's sad to say as a Community fan myself, but I think I agree with you. And on the topic of performance, I saw that the new star-studded David O. Russell film Amsterdam didn't perform well with critics or at the box office.
I heard about that too. Despite being led by Christian Bale, Margot Robbie, and John David Washington, Amsterdam scored a mere 33% on Rotten Tomatoes and opened to a dismal $6.4 million in its North American opening weekend, despite a huge release in over 3,000 theaters.
And with production costing over $80 million and global marketing over $70 million, the film is poised to lose anywhere from $80 to $100 million.
That's honestly so crazy, and it's also so much money. Speaking of losses though, as a huge Marvel fan, we just got notice of some more personal L's, with many of Marvel's upcoming releases getting pushed back even further.
The release of Blade has been pushed to September 2024, Deadpool 3 to November 2024, Fantastic Four to February 2025, and Avengers Secret Wars to May 2026.
This means Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars will no longer be released in the same year, which is a real bummer.
On a happier note, though, for film fans, and specifically for Adam Sandler will reunite with the Safdie brothers for a new movie that will begin filming this winter.
Yes. Also, I saw that Michelle Yeoh, Tina Fey, Jude Hill, and Kenneth Branagh have been cast in A Haunting of Venice, a new adaptation of Agatha Christie's Halloween novel.
Speaking of Agatha Christie, we would be remiss to not mention that legendary actress Angela Lansbury passed away at the age of 96 earlier today.
She will be truly missed, as her extensive career and incredible performances have brought joy to so many audiences. From Murder, She Wrote to Beauty and the Beast, she is truly a standout within the industry.
This one is for you, Angela.
First up in the show tonight, it's Halloween, and Hunter will be kicking it off, talking about some spooky content for the season.
Let's hear it, Hunter.
Happy Halloween, Sneak Peekers. Fall is finally upon us, and while that mostly means we'll be able to step outside without melting, it also means we can look forward to carving pumpkins, sewing costumes, and most importantly, trick-or-treating. As we count down the days to October 31st, you might find yourself wanting to get into a spooky mood, but don't want to leave the comfort of your apartment to do so. Thankfully, this Halloween season is full of creepy content available from your home. So if you're unsure what to watch this month, want a good selection for a costume party, or need some inspiration for a date night, we invite you to take a gander into Halloween streaming. Living up to the original, the new Hellraiser movie on Hulu might just be the scariest movie this Halloween season. With a great cast of characters, a horrifying mix of CG and practical effects, and constantly looming suspense, this film deserves all the praise it has received. The mysterious plot of attempting to save the protagonist's brother, solving a satanic puzzle, and defending against Cenobites, and trying to discover how a secretive billionaire connects to all of it, all works perfectly and keeps you constantly on your toes. If you're looking for a thrilling experience full of twists and jaw-dropping cinematography and a phenomenal ending, I highly recommend Hellraiser. If you're seeking a classic and childish Halloween experience, Trick or Treat Scooby-Doo could be a great option for you. With a new animation style inspired by the group's beginnings, this movie incorporates the essentials of Mystery Inc. in a new, original way while displaying new aspects of each character. I would say it's even made for an audience that grew up with the original, Scooby-Doo, as they revisit the oldest shenanigans and put the gang into new and comical situations. Trick or Treat Scooby-Doo is available to buy or rent on YouTube, Vudu, or Amazon Prime. Who knew that a longtime film composer would make such a great director? Michael Giacchino proves himself so with a new highlight of Marvel's Phase 4, and that's Werewolf by Night, deemed Marvel's first special presentation. This hour-long Halloween special focuses on Jack Russell as he and a group of monster hunters battle for a magical heirloom called the Bloodstone. Essentially a love letter to classic monster flicks of the 1930s, Werewolf by Night gracefully captures the style of those older films and blends it with the modern horror flair of the MCU. Guy Garcia Bernal does a great job as the leading man, with co-star Laura Donnelly playing Elsa Bloodstone, and you already know what to expect from that Giacchino score. More so than anything else, I want to compliment the vicious, gruesome action delivered on screen. The use of its black and white presentation allows Werewolf by Night to show off much more blood and brutality than typical Marvel. Without it, it could have easily been given a TV MA rating. A satisfying, self-contained story, Werewolf by Night opens the door for future one-off projects like itself and shows us a part of the MCU that's yet to be explored. Make sure to catch it on Disney+. If you prefer a Halloween binge with a heavy dose of 90s nostalgia, then head over to Netflix to check out the newest addition to the Flaniverse, The Midnight Club. The show tells the story of terminally ill teenagers in their final months at Brightcliff Hospice Care. And the name of the show refers to the central conceit that they all meet in the library at midnight to tell scary stories. Watching the show late at night will certainly leave you scared, but what will leave you wanting more are the dynamics between the characters, as they are very unique and each one different from the other ones in a way that they handle life after being given this horrible news. It's The Breakfast Club, but scary, and personally, I enjoyed that. If you're looking for something more classic this Halloween season, you can prepare for Halloween Ends this weekend by streaming the original 1978 Halloween on Shudder, as well as the most recent Halloween Kills on HBO Max. HBO Max is also home to the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, and will be adding the recent hit Barbarian to the service in only 2 weeks, which is a huge 2 thumbs up from me. Lastly, it doesn't get more classic than It's a Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown, which is now streaming exclusively on Apple TV Plus and deserves a yearly rewatch from all of us. Hopefully one of these options will be on your watch list this October, but if you think we missed something you were excited about, tag us at Sneak Peek TV on Twitter or Instagram with more TV shows and movies we can stream this Halloween. Now back to our hosts.
Hey, Tori, did you ever watch Hocus Pocus as a kid?
Okay, actually, I watched it for the first time last week, and I totally get why it's a Halloween classic.
So true. I mean, I can't believe it's taken nearly 30 years for Disney to finally make a proper sequel for the film. I mean, there was that book they released a couple years ago, but who reads, honestly?
Yeah.
Anyway, Sydney, Mason, and Lindsay prepared a very special treat for us for their brand new review of the Disney Plus film, Hocus Pocus 2. Take it away, guys.
Come on now, girls. We've got to get the ritual just right. We want to re-resurrect the Sanderson sisters like they do in Hocus Pocus 2. Magica, Mystica, Malika, Moo. Sneaking a, peeking a. Emmys, win you. Not like that, Sydney. Come on now, girls. We've got to get the chant right if we want to re-resurrect the Sanderson sisters like they do in Hocus Pocus 2.
Thank goodness the sequel showed us exactly which ritual to do. 29 years since the original black flame candle was lit, 3 new young women accidentally bring the child-hungry Winifred Mary and Sarah Sanderson back to life.
Once we summon them, I can't wait to ask about their newest evil schemes. In the sequel, we learned a little more about their backstory, but I still don't feel like the movie's attempt at character development really panned out.
Yeah, it really showed with the greatest treasure plotline. I love the sisters, but to be honest, I didn't resonate with the mushy-gushy stuff about Winnie's choice to sacrifice ultimate power and join her sisters in the afterlife.
It didn't help that the sisters were essentially Thanos snapped in that section of the movie. It kind of took me out of it.
No, I think it all really came down to the fact that Winnie's sweet and generous gestures were undercut by her rude and honestly abusive interactions with Mary and Sarah. But to be honest, those are her most iconic moments. I just wish the film had let her be a true villain, evil and fabulous.
Absolutely. I wish we had stuck with the original heroes in some way. I don't know why Disney thinks we need a redemption arc to add on to a franchise.
Cruella, Maleficent, Sandersons too.
I would have loved more villainous musical performances. I don't know how much stupid money they gave Elton John for their witchy cover of The Bitches Are Back, but it wasn't well spent.
Their rendition of One Way or Another was also very bland. very much giving the new Zombies era of DCOM. I know it's impossible to top the 1993 I Put a Spell on You, but they didn't even try.
I did love some of the drag cameos in that scene, though. Ginger, Kimora, and Cornbread looked great.
They were a better trio than those new kids. I mean, I thought the performances were all good and everything, but I felt cheated that they kept hinting at a lesbian lover's arc and then didn't commit.
I also didn't understand why the main girl was suddenly a witch. There was no explanation for that. At least the Sanderson sisters got a book from Hannah Waddingham.
I loved her performance as Mother Witch. She was a standout compared to some of the other new characters. The only thing I liked about Gilbert the Great was his name. Reboota, rewatcha, a Disney Plus coup.
I also miss the original's look. The sequel replaced all the big bright colors from the 90s with a couple of jewel tones and lots of shadows. All the Scarlets turned maroon, and it made me kind of sad.
Yeah, but I do think they did a great job with the hair and makeup for Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, and Kathy Najimy. They all incorporated elements from the original really well.
I still think they did SJP dirty with those eyebrows, though.
Yes,
sister.
Producta pregunta, the placement, so true.
Walgreens made out like a bandit with its product placement in this movie. It honestly could have been called Hocus Pocus 2 at the corner of happy and healthy.
I mean, they had to find some way to pay for all the CGI shots of the sisters shooting magical lightning bolts and flying on their brooms. Brooms and Broombas, I mean. The shot of Winifred snatching that girl out of the sky was hilarious.
Yes, I know with the original the CGI wasn't exactly perfect, but the mixture of practical effects made everything feel so much more real and stage-like.
It definitely seemed like a lot of the sequel came together in post. It was obvious in a lot of places where they had to punch up the script with some ADR.
It might be just the nostalgia talking, but I think that all things considered, Hocus Pocus 2 failed to recreate the delightfully spooky and wholesome vibe that made the original such a classic.
It's still a cute watch, but I don't think I'll be revisiting it next year.
Maybe we can convince the sisters to star in a third installment of the franchise. They're almost here.
Insta, a YouTube, and Twitter review
at Sneak Peek TV. The witches come through.
What's going on, Sneak Peekers? I'm Nick, and I'm here with a couple of our own to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Twilight Breaking Dawn. It's been 10 years since Twilight Breaking Dawn, the final installment of the Twilight franchise. What are a couple of you guys? Go ahead and introduce yourselves, and go ahead and say some of your favorite Twilight moments as well.
Well, hello everybody. I am Robbie, and a lot of my favorite parts in Twilight are when Edward...
So true. So true.
Hi, I'm Nayang, and one of my favorite scenes from the movie is probably Bella's transformation scene from Breaking Dawn 2.
Okay.
My name's Aiden. One of my favorite scenes, and it's kind of funny to me at least, is whenever Edward breaks up with Bella and just leaves her there in the middle of the woods to die, kind of.
Nice.
I remember that. Yeah, I recently binged all of the Twilight movies. I actually enjoyed them a lot more than I thought.
Was it your first time?
It was my first time.
Oh, you lucky you.
Yeah, it was my first time.
Nothing quite as magical as the first run through.
Yeah, everybody was always telling me that, like, Eclipse was the worst one, but I think Eclipse was my favorite, to be honest.
I respect that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What was your favorite?
Favorite? Ooh, I have a soft spot for the original, I won't lie. But Breaking Dawn Part 2.
Part 2, okay. What about y'all?
I'm gonna have to agree, because I find a couple of the movies to be rather pointless. But only if I were to see them in the theater, I would be a little bit mad.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if I were to be able to see them in the theater, I would thank the Lord and praise everything to be, I'd be thankful to be alive if I got that chance.
You could.
What about you, Nayan? What's your favorite?
I would have to agree with the original, but I also like New Moon too.
New Moon. New Moon was probably my least favorite,
really?
To be honest. Okay. Yeah, I didn't enjoy all of the Jacob stuff in New Moon. I think Jacob's my least favorite character, to be honest.
Nobody likes Jacob.
I'm Team Edward. I've been Team Edward even before I even watched the movies, to be honest.
Who likes Jacob?
Yeah, I don't know anybody who actually likes Jacob.
Nobody likes Jacob. He's not real.
It's not real. Exactly. And I didn't get to say my favorite moment. I think I've got two favorite moments when Edward goes to kill himself from the tower, and the baseball scene from the first movie. I think the baseball scene was actually really, really good. I really, really liked it. And everybody gives the first movie flack for the blue filter, but I think it really just shows like it's part of the movie. It's a characteristic of the movie, just for being like this whole like
it's art.
movie.
It's an artistic choice that proves to be like a wonderful decision in the filmmaking process. It's cinema.
Yeah, I actually really liked the blue filter. I wish they kept it throughout the whole series, but
yeah. I mean, I did like that the New Moon kind of switched over to like this orange filter. I felt like that fit New Moon, but for the first Twilight, I think the blue filter was a pretty good choice.
I agree with that statement.
Yeah. Yeah, and then they just kind of completely abandoned any sense of color in like the last. So I mean, the last one I feel like had more of like a white filter. I don't know, because of all the snow too. It seemed like it was mostly white.
True, snow is white.
Snow is white. Snow is white. Yeah. I've got a game here lined up for the panel. I researched some lines from the movie and from fan fiction, and I'm going to be asking our panelists here to see if they can guess whether these lines are from movies or from fan fiction. And the way it's going to work is I've got 12 lines here, and they're going to slam their hand down on the table as if it were a buzzer, but there's no buzzer. And whoever slams it first, they'll pick a number from 1 through 12. I'll read out the line, and they have to guess if it's from a movie or from fan fiction. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to do a little countdown, and then y'all will be able to do the whole buzzer thing, all right? All right, 3, 2, 1. All right, so Robbie?
I will do number 1.
Number 1? Okay. You're like my own personal brand of heroin.
I'm going to say that's from the movie.
It is from the movie. Now, I forgot to write down which movie they're from, but that is, in fact, from one of the Twilight movies. I think it's from the first one, actually. Yeah? You said earlier that you know all the Twilight lines, yeah. All right, so let's go again. I'm not going to do, let's do a countdown again. All right, 3, 2, 1. All right, Nayang?
Okay, 4.
4? This one's super easy. You nicknamed my daughter after the Loch Ness Monster.
Okay, from the movie.
It's from the movie. That was Breaking Dawn Part 2, right? Yep. Okay, awesome. All right, 3, 2, 1. Robbie again.
I'll do number 2.
Number 2? All right. You don't yet know what you're in for. You could still run for the hills.
I'm going to take a gamble and say it's a fan fiction.
It is a fan fiction. It's actually from the most famous fan fiction of Twilight, 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I thought I could take a little risk there, because I realized that it was what's the author's name? E.L. James wrote a whole Twilight fan fiction that had 3 books and 3 movies. I still can't believe that's a real thing. That's just based on Twilight faction.
Have you ever watched those movies?
I've seen the first one.
Not the other 2?
No.
I have.
You saw the other 2? How were they?
Well, it's pretty interesting because I watched them back to back with the Before trilogy, so I can get the ultimate romance experience.
Oh, yeah,
you know.
Definitely. I think that's how I've never seen the Before trilogy, so I think I should probably do the same thing you did. Watch the Before trilogy back to back with 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, I went from one franchise to the other, back and forth until I finished both trilogies.
Yeah. All right. So let's get back to the game. Let's go. 3, 2, 1. I think Aiden.
7.
7. I'm exactly right for you. It would be as easy as breathing with me.
I'm gonna have to say that's from the movie.
It is from the movie. Jacob spoke that line to Bella.
Jacob.
I know that.
All right. Where are you going?
Yeah, I just heard Jacob, and I didn't like that.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Robbie?
I'm gonna go with number 3.
3. I love it when you climb those trees.
I'm gonna go with the movie.
It's actually a fan fiction. It's from fan fiction from AO3 that I just found earlier. How do you feel about that? What made you think it was from the movie?
I mean, I remember lots of parts where she was in the trees, and it made me think, maybe they said that.
Maybe they did. I was also thinking that maybe Bella would say that to Edward. But we are out of time, so that's all from us tonight, Sneak Peekers. If you love Twilight, go ahead and tag us and let us know your thoughts on the film franchise. At Sneak Peek TV on Instagram or Twitter. I'm Nick.
I'm Robbie.
I'm Nayang.
I'm Aiden.
See you next week, Sneak Peekers. See you next week,
Sneak Peekers.